we're currently based in Lagos, and there are certain new developments that has calls for getting licenses in the place where the business will be operational. We'll get into that, so you know about that later. So the topic for this webinar is regulatory compliance for an online gaming business in Lagos State. So generally, let's just look at what has been happening in the gaming industry for a while now. So last year, November, precisely November 22, there was a landmark case where the Attorney General of Lagos State took federal government to court, and then the Supreme Court ruled, which is like the highest court in Nigeria, ruled that a law which was granting licenses to those engaged in gaming businesses was now null and void. So it rendered the law unenforceable. And the impact of this is there was a commission. That law gave authority to a commission or a regulatory body to grant license to certain people. And these people had been using these licenses to run businesses. So that's why before, or sometimes even till now, when you go online and you try to search for gaming licenses, you will still see references to National Lottery Regulatory Commission. A lot of people know that body to grant licenses for gaming, lottery, casino, online sports betting, and a host of others before their mind goes back to, oh, a state can grant license to them. So this law was declared null and void, and then that body, which was granting licenses, was put a stop to. So they can no longer grant license as of November 2022 last year up until now. So they've been working on coming back, but they are yet to start. And the impact of that was there was no longer the need for a national license. So instead of a national license, that license would now be operational just in Abuja, which is FCT. Just be operational in Abuja, while the state would grant licenses to those who want to operate within their state. So if a business is situated in Lagos State, for example, it is the Lagos State Gaming Authority that would grant license to such a business, and then you can operate online within that jurisdiction and all. Although it's not well defined presently for online, like jurisdiction-wise. So that was what happened. That's the backstory as of last year. And now sports betting. So sports betting is like one of the most popular form of gaming under the gaming body. So when we say gaming, there's sports betting, there's lottery, there are a lot of promotional games, a lot of games. There's casino, online casino, not physical casino. Now you also have online casino. So there are a lot of games when we talk about gaming. So sports betting is like one of the most popular form of gambling or gaming activities in Nigeria. And I'm very sure you've seen it. In fact, it's very addictive. A lot of people, especially the youth, they lose money a lot from this. So, and business owners or investors, they try to get money from such means as well. And Nigeria has a population of about 200 million. And with that population, we have like the largest betting market in Africa. So we have a lot of foreign investors coming into the country to open betting companies in Nigeria. In fact, most of the betting companies, they are foreign. And data from Nigeria Lottery Regulatory Commission indicates that over 65 million Nigerians aged specifically 18 to 40 participate in gaming activities. So that's a large bracket, and that's a lot of population. And Nigeria has processed about 40 million bets and payments online, like for a while now. So this is to tell you that the gaming market is huge, and one of the reasons why states are now involved in enforcing, even if they've been there for quite a while, but they've seen that there's money in this market. That's on a lighter note too. So some of the big companies that we have include OneXBet, Bet Naija, SportyBet, NairaBet, Betway. I'm sure you've heard of these ones and a whole lot of others. So these are some of the top companies, and the impact of that license or of the Supreme Court judgments last year has made some of these betting companies to go and register with states. So as of last year, a lot of betting companies started getting licenses from various states. So they had to start registering with the states because they knew that there would be an impact on the national license, which they had previously gotten. So some of these companies, or all of these ones listed here, they are all registered in Lagos State. If you even go on the website, you will see them listed there to confirm. So online gaming has it has been a very trending business, like I said, and under this, we have sports betting, lotteries, casino, lotto, and a host of others. So in Lagos State, the body that grants this license is the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Authority. So they are the ones who review applications and then grant the license. Even for renewals, they are still the ones who grants application renewal license renewals as well. Then let's look at the requirements. So if today you come and say, okay, I want to get a gaming license. So the first thing you have to do is you have to decide what kind of license you want to get. So is it online sport betting license you want to get, or a casino license, or a lottery license? You have to decide the type of license because the requirements, they can be the same to an extent, but the license fees are different. So you need to decide which license you want to go for. It will also impact the licensing process. So the first thing is, for these licenses, the required share capital is 20 million naira. So you have to register a company with 20 million. But if there's a foreigner in that company, let's say one foreigner and some other Nigerians, it will be considered as a company with foreign participation. So the presence of a foreigner alone would up the share capital to 100 million. So normally, this share capital is expected to be paid up in the sense that it reflects in the company's accounts. But because in practice, because of how things are, sometimes you don't have to show proof of it being paid up. You just have to allocate it to different shareholders for CAC. But later on, we'll see the impact of this whilst you're getting the license. So that's for the share capital. So after you do that, then you register the company, and then after registration, you'll be issued a certificate, a status report, and also memorandum and articles of association. And it's also necessary that your memorandum and articles of association reflects your objectives and nature of business. Then you also need an application letter to the regulatory body, which is the gaming authority. Now, this application letter has to be in a letterhead of the company. So you need to have your letterhead ready, do an application to the commission that, oh, you want to get a license and all. And then you also have to show proof of financial stability. So this business is capital intensive in the sense that you need money to pay people who win. So you need to be able to show that you're not just coming into the business to, yes, you want to make money, but you also want to use money to make money. So you need to be able to pay people and hold on to your side of the bargain. So you need to show proof of financial stability. You have to submit the company's statement of the company's account, or alternatively, you can submit the director's bank statement. And in this statement, they want to see inflows, outflows. They want to see how money is coming in and the fact that you will be able to run this business successfully, not just for the first year in which you'd be getting that license, but for subsequent years, say like up to 5 years. So you need to be able to show that, yes, there's money to run this business. Then you need a business plan. So it's not a business that you just go into because you sat down one day and you thought that lots of people have been engaging in betting, so I should probably go into it. No, it requires a lot of structure. So you need a business plan, a proper business plan, and then you need to get your tax clearance certificate. So before you get your tax clearance certificate, you would have gotten your tax identification number after registration with CAC. Sometimes your tax identification number comes on the CAC certificate. Sometimes, I think due to network issue or whatnot, it might not reflect. But whichever the case, if it comes on the certificate, then you have to go to FRS office and ensure that that number is okay for you to use. And then you'd get your VAT letter, which would have your tax identification number. Then after you get that, you can get a tax clearance certificate. But of course, if the company has not been in operation for a while, then there's no clearance. So you just go typically with your VAT certificate. Then for the directors as well, you also need to go with their tax identification number. You need to ensure they have tax ID. But if you've registered a company and it takes quite a while before you apply, then you need to make sure that, okay, you do necessary filings when due. Then next, you also have to pay your application fee. So one of the most important things when submitting application for getting any of these licenses is that they don't joke with money. So you need to have paid application fee and then license fee. We'll get into that later on and you know, okay, the cost and all of that. Then the profile of the relevant qualifications of key personnel, like the directors, what are their qualifications? Do they have any special qualification you listed there? Are there some notable things to know about them? You also listed there as well. Then you need to describe your operations, management structure. Okay, this is how we're going to operate as a company. These are the different roles that are assigned to each person and all of that. And then you need industry analysis. So before you venture into this business, what most people do is you first of all carry out a market research. Then in that market research, you would get a lot of information and analyze that industry. That's what's going to help you know which of the licenses or which area you should get into. So they want to see that you've done your own analysis and you understand the gaming industry. You're not just going into it without an understanding of what you want to do. So you have to submit that document as well. And then you need to have marketing and distribution plans. Okay, when people come on your platform, however, or whichever platform you're going to use for these games, what's your marketing plan? What's your distribution plan? What are your locations or what branches do you have in mind to open? What gifts do you want to give out to people? All of these things are very important. You need to explain and show proof of these things. Then you need to state proposed sports betting operations or proposed gaming operations. So what kind of games will you be going into? It's not just enough to say, okay, we're just going to do certain games. Yes, what games? Describe the games in detail. Let us understand the kind of games they are getting into. It's not just some random application and then we give you the license and you just chill. You're not using it for anything. Let's know the kind of games and let's know that you're serious. Then financial projections. Okay, this game, when you're doing your market research, you would also have like financial projections. Okay, this business you're getting into, the first year, this is an expected income or an expected profit that you want to get or meet. In the next 5 years, you make certain projections, things like that. So you're expected to also submit that document as well. Then hardware and software information like your servers, your routers, firewalls, you'll be taking in a lot of data, you'll be gathering tons of data. So you need to be able to put certain measures in place to ensure that you're not just taking people's data for taking sake, you're also protecting their data because if that goes out, it's a big issue, especially if it's in the wrong hands. So you need to show that, yes, you have the capacity to take this data and to manage them properly. Then you also need to submit detailed information about your bookmaker, your betting site, technical consultants. Yes, you are a business owner, you're an investor, but you don't have knowledge about all of these areas. So you need certain people, you need to consult certain people on how to handle certain things, especially the technical areas of that business. So you'd have to submit all of these details. So these are some of the requirements that you need when going into such a business. And one of the things that, although it's usually not required to be submitted, but from experience, getting a trademark is very important, because if you notice, some of the names or the top names I mentioned at the beginning, they are very catchy names. They are very trendy names. So, and that's not a name that you just pick and start using without trademarking. So you have to protect the name to ensure that you are guarded on all areas. So you have to trademark it. That's a very important thing. Before you even start operation, whilst you are deciding this is the company name, this is going to be the company name. Some of those names, they are not the names of the company. Some of them, they make up part of the names of the company. So before you decide that, okay, this is the name I think is going to be very catchy and people will be really interested in, you have to trademark it immediately. And trademark doesn't take so long. Yes, getting your certificate takes a long time, but the documents that you can use to show that you've secured that name or you've locked down that name takes about 1 to 2 weeks. So it doesn't take so long. You can get it before you start operations or before you make your application to the regulatory body. So then for capital requirements, so like I said earlier, you have to show that you have the capacity to do this business, not just for the first year or the year that you're going to be giving your license. For subsequent years, 5, 10 years, you have to show what are your capital projections, what are your expected turnovers, and all of that. So you need to have money. You have to also show that you can give people, remit gifts to people. It's not that when somebody wins, they play a game on your platform and then they are not able to cash their gifts. You start giving excuse, okay, or posting them, okay, come in the next, or you're trying to get money from here to pay these, like some of these Ponzi schemes. No, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's a well-structured business. So you need to be able to sit down and show that you have the required capital to carry on this business. Then you need to also show that there's money in the company's account. So if anything goes wrong, you can quickly settle certain bills and all of that. Then timeline for processing the license, which is one of the most interesting parts of getting this license. So a lot of people are always like, okay, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? So it takes, the first thing you need to know is that licensing process is in 2 stage. So after you've prepared all your documents, you've prepared everything and you're ready to submit, then you need to understand that the first stage of the licensing is called approval in principle. And then the second stage is final approval or your final license. So approval in principle is like a test run, right? So this is how it works. It takes about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to get. And during this period, what will be happening is your application will be reviewed. Sometimes you can be called in for a presentation. So the gaming authority would just want to know the face behind this company. Sometimes they would ask you to come in for a presentation. Okay, tell us about your games, tell us about your business and all of that. And then you'll be given an approval in principle when they've seen that, okay, you've paid the necessary fees, your documents are complete. During this approval in principle, you have a period of 90 days, which is 3 months, to make use of this approval or this license, this temporary license as it is. So this temporary license, what you do during this period is you test the market. So it's more like testing the waters. You see how the market is. Okay, this is what I can do. Try and check, okay, this method that I want to use to enter into the market, how feasible is it? Is there something I need to change? Is there something I need to adjust? And during this period, whilst you be operating or trying to use it, you are tax free. So you don't have to pay tax for this particular period of time, this 90 days, whilst you are looking at the market and you have that in the bag, your approval in principle, your AIP. So you don't have to pay tax. You are allowed to look at the market and all of that. But you have to apply for the final license before the expiration of the 90 days. Very important, very, very important. So you have to mark that timeline and ensure that you apply for the final license before that 90 days expires. And the final license takes about 2 to 4 weeks because, of course, your application has been considered and they can see that, okay, you actually have potentials or you can do this business. So it doesn't take so long to get the final license, except there are some administrative issues or whatnot. So it takes about 2 to 4 weeks, and then you are granted your final license. You can commence operations. So that's that. Then another interesting part of obtaining this license is the price, the cost of obtaining the license. So in Lagos State, there's no specific cost. The only fees that we can tell you this is the amount, strict to sensu, is the application fee. So the application fee is 1 million naira, which is non-refundable. And then you pay that before you even submit. You pay your application fee and you submit evidence of payments whilst you are applying. And then after that, your license fee. Remember I said there are different kinds of games. So, and these kinds of games, they have different license fee. Sorry, the application fee is usually the same, 1 million around, but the license fee is different. So the least license fee we have is 50 million. And then we have about, some can be 100 million, sport betting can be 100 million, it can be more than, it depends. So there's no fixed fee for these licenses. The license fee is determined at the point of application by the agency. So they are the ones that will tell you, this is the price that we're taking for this particular license. You could get it at a certain fee a previous year, or somebody else could have gotten that certain fee, but that might not be applicable again. So it's something that you always have to confirm to ensure that yes, you are paying the right amount and you're preparing your mind with the right amount. So 50 million naira is not a small money, but again, somebody who wants to go into a business of this magnitude and knows the benefits that come with such a business, this amount of money, this license fee is not so much for the person. So they would consider it not so much because they feel the returns are a lot. And then you are expected to show proof that you have money. And this is one of the ways to show proof that you have money to run such a business. So this is the license fee. Then service fee. So service fee is typically the monies that are being paid to professionals or consultants who help you in obtaining the license, guide you throughout the process. Because this licensing process, it might sound so easy, but it can be very tricky. So there are some procedural things that you need to know, administrative things that you need somebody to guide you through to ensure that these timelines for obtaining this license are adhered to strictly. You get your license within this time without any issue. Your documents are prepared and is ready. You get everything easily. And that's where a service fee comes in. So whoever is going to help you, a consultant, an agent, whichever person is going to be assisting with this process, we charge a service fee. And of course, service fees are not like government fees that is, okay, it's a fixed price. Okay, this is the amount that everybody charges across board. No. So it varies, it depends on what the person wants to charge. So we can't really say this is the price for the other two, that's the amount that is usually applicable. And then validity. So different licenses with different prices and also different timelines. So the first one, we have public online lottery and is granted for 5 years and subject to renewal. So after 5 years, before the expiration of the 5th year, you go in to renew the license. Then online sports betting license is valid for a year. So it's a yearly license. And that license, the license fee is 100 million. So after that, this is why they are very strict with the licensing process. So when you know how you got your license, you'll be serious with your business to ensure that you're on track because you know that the following year you have to renew again. So it's renewable annually. For casino license is also valid for a year and renewed annually. So scratch cards, and some of those games that they use scratch cards and the interactive gaming. So that one is a year license and renewable as well. Then gaming machines, there are some machines that you can slot in stuffs to play games and all, especially in malls. So such a license is valid for a year and then subject to renewal. So there are a couple of others, but the timeline is usually determined at the point of application. Yeah. So can foreigners engage in this business? Yes, you can engage in this business in Lagos State, but the share capital has to be 100 million, like I said earlier. And then when you get to your business permit and expatriate quota, so for foreigners, there's an extra requirement for business permit, expatriate quota. You have to submit that as one of the documents for obtaining the license. So when you obtain it, if you notice on the permit, it to be stated that you need to have like local understudies. So people who you would teach is just a way of ensuring that locals have knowledge about certain businesses or tap from certain worlds of experience. So you have local understudy in the sense of Nigerians. So you need to have a certain number of Nigerians in that company who would be learning that business whilst you are working. So the foreigner would have to get expatriate quota, business permit to be able to carry on the business. Expatriate quota is to create certain slots for them to work and then apply for their SEPAC, which is work and residence permit, to be able to work and reside in Nigeria. So I think we've come to the end of the webinar, and generally I would just say it's very important that you carry out necessary findings when entering any industry, gaming business as well. So you carry out your market research, know about that industry, you know about the trendy things happening there. And before you enter into such a business, plan for it, and also know the regulatory requirements. So you have to obtain your required documents before you get into such a business. And SCUML as well. Well, before I forget, so SCUML is like an anti-money laundering registration that you do with EFCC. Most people think that after doing that, it means that the business is not fake or quote and unquote determines the validity. No, it's just a document for you to attest to the fact that you are not going to engage in money laundering. If you see the way this business is, it's very easy for such a business to be used as a channel for money laundering. So that's why they try to make the licensing process very strict. So if you have gotten that document and you have admitted, then when such a business or an applicant is caught engaging in illegal activities, then you can be held that, okay, you are tested. So that document is very important. It's one of the most important documents you need to submit. So get the required documents and then obtain your license. Don't go about running a business without the license and say, don't catch me. I'm sure the enforcement process is serious. It's when you start doing something, you will know that, okay, there are actually people in this space who are enforcing certain laws. So just make sure that you obtain your license so that you can carry on business smoothly, you concentrate on your business, and you avoid penalty fees. You can see the way the license fee is high. Just imagine what a penalty fee would look like and how it would impact the business and even affect the reputation. You know, a business of this magnitude, when you don't obtain license, it can cause reputational damage. While when people start reading in the news that, oh, this business didn't, then people start to doubt the integrity of such a company, and then they can't trust you or engage in business with you. So it's good that you obtain all of these things before starting business. And of course, Firmus Advisory provide like an all-round service for market research, trade development, obtaining license, regulatory compliance. We do all of this, accounting, we offer accounting services. So all of the documents that are required for obtaining these licenses, we can assist you with getting them. And then we can apply for the licensing process, make it seamless for you, easy, stress-free. You just submit all your details and we get the work done for you in a very relaxed manner. So you can reach out to us and we would assist with obtaining this document. So this is our address. We are located at flat 3, 4B, John Obasikalu, Zone 10 at Marawa in Lekki, Phase 1, Lagos State. And these are emails. So after the webinar, you can send us an email if you have any question, if you want to reach out to us for anything. And then you can also send a WhatsApp message to the number as well, or you can give us a call and would always be willing to speak to you. So it's time for question and answer. If you have any question, you can ask at this time and we would answer. Let's see. Okay, so somebody dropped something in the Q&A box. Okay, so Stan Martin said, so to operate 100% online sports betting company in Nigeria that targets all Nigerians in all states, I need to get licenses from all 36 states of the federation, or once I am registered in one state as an online sports betting company, I can operate online in other states. Okay, so currently, because the law just came into force, sort of like, yes, states have had their gaming bodies for a while now. It wasn't just last year. That was how they were able to fight, because they noticed people were going for the national license more than states. So they've not really defined what their jurisdiction is. Yes, physically, you can say, for example, in Lagos, once you have an office in Lagos, it means you're going to operate in Lagos. But when you are online, you have the ability to be present in all 36 states, in fact, outside Nigeria. So as far as people can access you online, then you can operate. Currently for Lagos State, the position is they have not stated that if you're operating or they give you an online gaming license, that you should only operate such online or carry out such online service in Lagos State. You shouldn't allow consumers or customers from other states. They've not stated that expressly. So people who obtain these licenses, even if they might have a physical presence in Lagos State, sometimes they have just online presence and people from other states participate in these activities. But the only thing is they are guided by the laws applicable in Lagos State. They just try to adhere to the laws applicable in Lagos State because that is where they obtain their license from. So to answer your question, currently, if you want to operate 100% online, you can obtain a license from Lagos State and operate online and get participants or customers from different places to partake in your or play games on your platform. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Yeah, so it's kind of very tricky now, but people are trying to, so those are loopholes. Sometimes people try to make use of the loopholes in the law. So those are loopholes that people try to use. So that's why it's good that you are always current. We don't know what the state or the position is going to be in the next few months, but there are talks that they are trying to review their laws and review their prices as well. So they are trying, that's why they don't have a standard fee for license fee. They give fees when you are ready for the application. So they are trying to review their prices, and because they've just come to the realization that a lot of people will be obtaining licenses from states, and the crowd that FCC was getting before would be moving towards various states. So business owners can get this license and then try to use it pending when there is a stipulated position, and then of course everybody would adjust. So does anybody has any other question? Okay, if there are no questions, if you have questions, you can send a message to us. You can send a mail, or you can send a chat to this number on WhatsApp or call. So you can also pay us a visit as well. We're open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can stop by. We would always be willing to speak to you if you need clarification on anything. Aside obtaining a gaming license, because we do regulatory compliance in general. So we also provide community secretarial services, legal services. So you can always reach out to us. Okay, I think we have. Okay, so how about operating offline? Do you need to get the license in all states, or does the national license work? So currently, there is no national license presently. Some time back, as at last month, we're told that they are trying to review the law applicable in FCT. So even the prices for license fees for FCT would be reviewed. So the old prices that we're using to get licensed before has changed. So it's going to be reviewed. And currently, there is no national license. What we have now is state license. And the law or the National Lotteries Regulatory Commission is only going to be functional in FCT in Abuja. So there is no national license. If you want to operate in a state, you have to get the license. That's the interpretation physically. You have to get a license in each of these states. And not all of these states have, not all the 36 states have a gaming authority or a gaming body. So it's major states like Lagos, Ibadan, major states where these activities are operational, Abuja, that have these gaming authorities. So we would also see in the coming months, in coming years, would different states start establishing their own gaming authorities? Would people start looking into other states aside Lagos? Although people participate in some of these things outside Lagos, but then since there is opportunity for different states to have their gaming authority, I think some states will come up with that as well. So I hope that answered the question on operating offline. Okay, yes, the slides will be sent to your mail after this webinar, so you can refer to it subsequently. But please, like I said, a lot of things are changing, so don't rely on, especially for the license fees. So it's going to change. We can't really say that's 50 million is going to be the least amount, or is something lesser. There's going to be a lesser license fee. So try to be up to date with the various developments. So beyond licensing, what are the crucial operational factors that new entrants often underestimate when launching a gaming or lottery business? So beyond licensing, I think what most people fail to get is, or fail to do, is a market research. If you notice, one of the requirements was industry insight, and that is a very important thing to do. You need to understand the market. It's not just about seeing 10 people at a spot, or seeing 5 people or 50 people even at Naira bet shop or Sporty bet shop. No, that's not it. That's not what will tell you whether a market is profitable or not. You need proper market research. You need professionals to help you look at this market and see which is more profitable. What are some of the challenges faced? What are some peculiar details that you need to take note of when you're entering such a business? If you even go to those agents to help you obtain this license, there are some licenses that they will tell you that you might have in mind. You feel like, okay, the license fee is not so much. Let me go for this one. It's cheaper. No, no, no. It's not just by it's cheaper. You need to get a license that you would get your return on investment immediately. It's something that you know that when you get, you are sure to get your money back. So they will tell you this license is most profitable. This one makes more sense. This is what most people go for. This is more expensive, but this is what is in the market currently. This is what you need to go for. So aside the getting the license, market research is very, very important. Protecting your brand name, like I said, doing a trademark, immediately you decide that, okay, this is the business I want to go into, and you've picked on the license, protect that name. Because the same way you are thinking of one name is the same way somebody else is thinking. You're not the only person with smart mind. A lot of people are blessed with creative minds. So as you're thinking of something, like 5, 10 people are already thinking of that thing. They're already thinking of that name. You have to protect your name on CAC first of all. You have to protect your name on trademark as well. at the trademark registry, you have to register that name, ensure that the name is protected, and then get your SCUML registration done. Very, very important. It's very important that you get those things done. Even during your CAC registration, don't just let anybody do the registration for you. No, let a professional do the registration for you so that you don't have complications. Complications, especially in your share capital. Let them use the appropriate share capital for you, especially when foreigners are involved. I've heard a lot of stories about people saying, oh, they thought they used 10 million share capital because there was foreign participation. But that law has changed for over 2-3 years now. For about two years now, we've been doing 100 million for foreign participation. And when first, a lot of people were saying, no, it's a lie, it's not 100, it's 10, it's not 100, it's 10. It wasn't CAC. It wasn't CAC that said it, but this law came from expatriate quota and business permits. They were the ones, immigration were the ones who came up and said, we want to do 100. So when there is a law like that, it would affect a professional, a very good professional will know that that thing would affect every other body. So people started doing 100. If you don't use the appropriate share capital, you will have issues. When you are supposed to get your certificate in, say, like 3 working days or get your documents, then you start going up and down. And in like how many months, you won't even get it, because if you don't comply with what they've stated, you cannot get that document. So you have to ensure that you use the right person to get these things. Even for opening bank accounts, make sure you open the appropriate account. Don't just pick any bank. Use a bank that you know would not give you stress, because you'd need to obtain your what's it called, your bank statement, a lot of documents. So some of these things are very, very important. Then I think that answers for beyond licensing. So the next question says, if I can tell in monetary terms or in percentage how profitable the business is. So what I can say is this business, actually sports betting, most especially, is very profitable. The share capital for Lagos State, not share capital, sorry, the license fee for Lagos State, I don't know if it will change, but as at the last time we were informed, it is 100 million. So 100 million, if you put in, and then your application fee aside, your processing fees and all of that, you would be sure to recoup a larger percentage of what you've put into that business, because the normal population, so we have an age bracket of from 18, even less than, sometimes we have people less than, but of course the gaming commission advises that gaming activities should be from 18 years and above. So you have to take note of that as well. Whilst you are developing your game, ensure that you observe these age guidelines and you don't entertain children, people who are less than 18, because gaming activities are very addictive. So gaming activities are addictive, and which means you'll be getting people coming back to play these games. So the age bracket, we have an age bracket of young people who are not afraid to take risk, and then which means more money. So it's profitable, a win for both parties. So from 18 to say 40, 42, you are going to be getting that pool of people, population coming to play your games, especially sports betting. And it is, I can tell you for a fact that it is very profitable. You would recoup your money very fast. Why do you think most of these sport betting companies are able to sponsor certain events, are able to pay back certain wins, they are able to up their wins? Because there is money. People believe that you use money to get money. So these participants believe that you use money to get money, and the higher their stake, the higher their wins would be. So it is very, very profitable. That I can tell you for a fact. It's a very profitable business, and even a lot of foreigners have seen this, and we have a lot of foreigners that are playing in this space. So it's a very profitable business. Yeah. So I hope I've been able to answer all of these questions. And if we have any other question, we can please let us know. If not, then we would end the webinar. But would get the webinar slides across to everyone that registered. So don't worry, you'll be getting the webinar slides. So I hope you had a nice time. Thank you very much for joining, and we wish you an amazing day. Okay. So we have a question. What are our fees like? So I can't give a very straight answer. I can't say it is X naira because a lot of factors impact our fees, but I can give you this, which is our fees are very reasonable. They are something that it is very considerate. So there is no range. So what impact our fees are processing fees. And if we discover that we have to obtain certain documents, then the fee would be higher. So there are no ranges for the fee. But if when you are ready, you can send a quote and then you go over it. You see if it's something that you can work with. If something that we can give a discount, then we give a discount. If it's something we can't, we'll also let you know. And also explain why we charge as much as that. Okay.